Hello friends and global community, my name is Bob Jaco. Many of you who know me will know me as Editor-in-Chief of Co-Creation magazine, but there's another side to me and I'd like to talk to you about that today. I have been a channel for an energy or a stream of consciousness calling itself soul. Now that is spelled S-O-L. And soul stands for signals of love. And soul has been with me most of my life. It has been my wisdom well, my intuition, my manifestor or co-manifestor or co-creator of synchronicities. It has shown me and given me the mechanisms and has taught me all about the world as I have experienced it. And it has led me on a journey which has brought me to you today. And in 2016, I was out mowing the lawn and Soul popped back in and he said, "It's time for you to activate." And I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "We wish you to begin the process of delivering the messages and the message of co-creation to the world." And so for the next 2 hours, I received a very, very large transmission which rolled out a vision plan for delivering a vision to change global consciousness. Now, that was the initial setup. The plan was rolled out over 9 months, so it's actually in 6 stages. And when I received it, it was so big and so vast, I began to get overwhelmed. And consequently, I didn't proceed with it for another 18 months when I started to get more courage, if you like, a bit more confidence. And I then had a conversation with Soul. And that conversation went like this: if you want me to deliver a vision of putting together and connecting groups of people who are in the consciousness genre, in the consciousness field, in the influencers field, in the training field of transformation, I want you as source to co-create with me all the necessary tools and resources to assist me to get this out into the world quickly and in scale. Now the plan itself actually was emanated over 30 years of Earth time. And I sat there and did some calculations. I'm 71. And I said, well, okay, that makes me 101. When I saw that, I said, well, how long do I need to extend my life to see this mission fulfilled? And Soul said, well, you know, it's up to you as to how you change your biology and lengthen your biological lifespan. You know, you are in charge of your own body and your own longevity. So, you know, if you wish to extend it to 120 or 150, you're totally capable of doing that. And I said, cool, all right, well, put that aside and we'll work with that. Anyway, once I got the vision plan, I sat down with it and said, okay, the whole vision plan is actually in 6 stages. And the first stage is where we are now, which is the rollout of the magazine. Stage 2 is the presentation or the development of an online platform which actually allows us to deliver content, product, services, and media to the global community, not only about co-creation, but it also supports all of people like yourselves who are beginning to move towards going global, moving towards getting your messages out to the world and wanting to find a platform where you can become visible. And so that's stage 2. And stage 3, which is more or less linked with stage 2, is about building the community. And the community is what's the most important part of this feature, is that you as a collective need to work as one system, one movement, in order to create this change. And so we have set in place a blueprint by which we can get you engaged in this whole process, and together we can begin to become catalysts for global change. And the last part of the journey is that understanding that nearly 60 to 70% of this planet lives in poverty and illiteracy. And in order to initiate any change in personal consciousness and awareness, it is necessary to take people out of poverty and out of illiteracy so they can understand fully what their options are and see that they can indeed co-create whatever they wish. They are already doing that in an unconscious form. We need to bring it into a conscious form so we can begin to change the behaviours and actions that are affecting the planet as you know it today on every different level: politics, climate change, agriculture, sustainability, social impacts, monetary systems. Every facet is affected by unconscious human behaviour. And when you change that to a conscious human behaviour, you actually begin the process of inverting the possibility of this planet going whatever direction that you would rather not see it go. And in that way, what we can do is begin to work together to help others change. Now, it's very interesting because Sol gave me a particular formula, and we call it the +2 formula. And it seems so simple that I wonder why other people hadn't thought of it. But if you think about it, and it works like this: if each one of you who are transformational agents, each one of you, undertook to teach and influence and help 2 people to transform consciously, just 2 people in a year, 2 people in a year. If 1 million people undertook that process, that means in the second year you have 3 million conscious people. And if the 3 million conscious people did the same thing, the following year after that you have 6, 12, 24, 48, and so on and so forth. And if that formula was to be continued, remember, it's 2 people a year. Whether you charge them for it or whether you give it from the heart free is irrelevant. If you undertook to take that formula and actually put it into effect, we would turn this planet around and turn it into literally a paradise. So stage 4 is where we're going to start using technology to enhance the community's learning experience, but as well provide an innovative platform to deliver content of all sorts to people that are willing and able to listen and use our material. In this particular sense, we're looking at technology on the mobile phone, so we're looking at apps that are able to handle interactive programs, learning programs, so they can learn about co-creation, they can learn about manifestation, they can learn about intuition, they can learn about all of the stuff that they need to about how the inner world affects the outer world. And so stage 4 is the acceleration of the process of technology delivering to our global community where they have reasonable internet. That only accounts for at least 60% of the population of the world. So for those, we are going to look at other forms of technology to deliver courses via satellite and other means for these people to access the courses, and we will provide those free of charge. Now, stage 5 is where we begin to extend our reach globally outside of the English-speaking world. We intend to turn all our material into about 30 languages so that people in other cultures and other countries can have access to all the material that we are producing. And indeed, when I say we, I also mean you as the community, because we are expecting and we are inviting you in to produce material that is globally available in many different languages, and we'll assist you to get that out into the world. The other process is to understand that not everybody has access to books or even electronic books, and not everybody can indeed read. So in those parts of the world where there's high levels of illiteracy, we actually will produce talking books in their own languages. They can put on low-cost media players, and they can listen to the stories, or we will produce low-cost iPads or tablets, and they can actually then have those transmitted as cartoons, anime, or other facilities that they can begin to understand what we're trying to get over to them. And so part of that whole system is delivering to the global community mechanisms and products and services via completely different and often not yet developed platforms. And that is stage 5. Stage 6 is probably the most important stage, because we are looking at a world, and when you are living in your own world, which is probably in a Western type society where you're reasonably comfortable financially, on a comparison to other people, you've been reasonably well educated. That is not the experience of the majority of this planet. In the majority of this planet, the education levels are, in many senses, basic. In fact, in some areas, non-existent. And it's mainly children and women that are affected in this particular way, depending on their cultures and geography. And in order to get this material and basic understanding that there is a better option for them than just simply dire poverty, survival, and a very dark place to live in. We want to begin to lift them up and give them the options of a better life, and give them the understanding that they are also co-creators of their own experiences. And if they are not choosing to live in that particular space, they can choose to create a different space for their lives. But they need to understand that they have that option. And so in doing this, what we are proposing is that at least the majority of the profits from all the income that Conscious Co-Creation Global raises, most of it will go into a master foundation And that Master Foundation will organise groups of people from the community, which is you, who will volunteer and in many cases also be paid to go into these countries and set up the infrastructure and the necessary and work with the locals to create the resources for local change. And that I mean education, I mean sustainable agriculture, I mean microfunding, a different idea of how they can live in communities and how they can cross bridges between cultures and religions. So the community, which is you guys, will be the resources we'll be looking for to send into Africa, into South America, to create the necessary what I call is boots on the ground and first responders to teach these people a new way of being and a new way of living. And we will create the necessary chain of funds to go to these particular foundations and these particular groups, and we will teach them how to self-fund and how to self-regulate and how to self-evolve. And so the final stage is a stage of assisting all of the world's poor, dispossessed, disengaged people to live a better life and to come into understanding that there's only one consciousness and they all have the same ability to co-create and manifest a better life if they are aware of it. If they are aware of it. So it's about consciousness. This whole journey is about consciousness and teaching people to become aware that there is only one consciousness. And that inside of that, once we connect to that from a place of love, we can change the world exponentially and quickly. We don't have to look forward to the negative options many people suggest we're going towards. Thank you for having me today. I'm most delighted to be in your homes and to be able to produce this broadcast for you. And we will see you once again. Thank you.